Is this much better for everyone? And the reason that I'm asking is because I believe that a representative should always seek the ideas and the concerns of the people before making a decision. And so I thank you for recommending to me the best place to stand. And so let me first wish everyone a good afternoon. And I'm truly honored to be here. To Chairman Fields, to the Executive Committee of the 1st District, to my fellow Republicans, to my fellow citizens of the greatest nation in the history of humankind. I am humbled and privileged to stand before you at this moment. And I do realize that there will be quite a few questions, even concerns and issues to be addressed over the course of my campaign. I assure you that at any time, as I only sleep every 3 days ever since I have begun my campaign, feel free to call me at any time with any questions. Feel free to send me an email. I was praying in earnest and thinking deeply upon what I would like to say. And I must admit that the most important thing that I can do is to address 2 rumors that have come to my attention. Because I feel that it is important that our representatives and the leaders with whom we trust, our safety, our livelihood, and the lives of our children, be addressed with great transparency. So the first rumor is that I was recruited into the Republican Party by our National Committee woman and by our State Vice Chair. This evening I have brought with me, or this afternoon rather, a letter that I wrote 2 months ago. And the letter was entitled, "Why I Cannot Run for United States Congress." In this letter I discussed in detail the struggles of persons living in the 1st District as I have lived them, as I have seen them, because I was born and raised in this district. And in these 7 pages, which I have brought with me today, and I have brought hopefully enough copies for everyone, I detail every single moment of my life, the good and the bad, how I entered the Christian ministry, how I spent time struggling with accepting the call to Christian ministry, as my grandfather, my father, and my brother are all Baptist ministers. So I can assure you that I was not recruited to run in this race, and I've often said I was not invited to the Republican Party. I crashed, and I have been happy ever since. I joined this party because my grandparents were lifelong Republicans. My grandfather supported Nixon in 1960, in fact. And so I embraced the political heritage of my family. And so recently in speaking to Congressman Jones, he told me, "Jerry, as you speak to people, simply be yourself and tell your story." And so in that sense, I will address the second rumor. It has come to my attention, the source of which I do not know. But at the outset, I certainly want to make clear that there has been an interesting rumor circulating. To a certain degree, I'm flattered by it. That at one point in time in my life, that I starred in a certain type of movie. I think now that you can see my physique and now that you see me, we can all agree at just how laughable that is. I can assure you at no point in time in my life, though I did live in Los Angeles for some time, that I ever starred or was involved in a certain type of movie. In actuality, those references go back to a documentary that I produced and directed entitled "Death of a Preacher," in which I detailed my call to Christian ministry. And in detailing my call to Christian ministry, oh, and Mr. Huggins here is showing the poster. Mr. Huggins has just joined our party, by the way, so he has, I've been able to convert him. In that documentary, I left no stone unturned for this reason. I have been working in pastoral leadership for 8 years. My father was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2004. And we had neither an assistant pastor or any associate pastors at our church. I was in seminary at the time, and at that time, I went to my father's church and I began serving in ministry. There were many young people who left the church because they told me that throughout their lives they had done things that they were ashamed of and that they felt embarrassed to come into the church. And yes, it was very risky for me to make such a film with such detail. But I was tired of people leaving the body of Christ because they felt as if they had done things in their lives that were so shameful that there was no forgiveness in the body of Christ. And I said, if it will cost me my professional career, my ministerial career, my pastoral career, as a minister of the Christ, I could not stand by while dozens of young people were leaving the church because they felt so ashamed. Have I been criticized for the films? Yes. Some congregations have set the films on fire and burned them and have already told me that I have paved my way to hell. But those young people came back into the church. I baptized many of them. And they have rejoined the body of Christ. It was not easy being persecuted or criticized. But I feel that that is the role of a leader in the church. That is our role as Christians. And so, as you hear those rumors, I'm here to tell you today, with great transparency, and I have brought copies of the film. And though the film retails as high as $29.99, I'm giving them away because in no way do I want it to seem as if I am shamelessly self-promoting, which is why I never mentioned the films. But when I saw the rumors begin to circulate, know with great transparency and clarity, I want to address any issues, concerns, or questions that you have, because that is what we need in our government. There have been persons who've said that our voices have now died throughout our district and throughout our nation. But the reason that I'm running is because I hear the voices of our 700,000 residents, and our voices have not died. Our voices are stronger than ever. Our voices live on in the dedication and the hard work of our school teachers, who wake up before the sun comes up, and who work all day and come home with swollen ankles because they spend so much time and effort educating our children. Please forgive me, I don't have my teleprompter with me, so it's a bit more difficult to speak without it. But our voices live on in the courage of our servicemen and our servicewomen, our sons and daughters, our neighbors, who at this very moment are on the other side of the world, and they are willing, if necessary, to give the ultimate sacrifice for their nation because they love us so much and they love their nation so much. And our leadership is not deserving of their sacrifice. Our voice lives on in the effort of our state employees who dedicate their lives providing services for us. And the work of our small business owners, the true creators and innovators who create jobs, and small business owners who are tired of having Washington, D.C. take all of their hard-earned money and waste it on Wall Street. Our voice lives on in the creativity of our children, and their brightness and their energy in the classroom. Our voice lives in the love of our parents and in the faith of our congregation. And so I thank you for allowing me to have this moment to speak to you. And if you allow me the opportunity, in the coming days, weeks, and months, then it is my prayer and my hope that you will extend to me the honor and the privilege to be your voice in our nation's capital. Thank you so much, and God bless you.